Hi there everyone, this is Jim from Just Push Play, Ottawa's video game web show, and today I'm with some cool dudes from iPLAY out here in Canada, and they can tell you a bit more about what iPLAY is. And your name, sir?
Kieran Lee.
And Brennan Lee.
Okay guys, so you've had like the privilege of being here since the very beginning at iPLAY. Could you tell me a bit of what it was like, being the sons of the owner, what it was like living around video games for so long?
Well, really we got to see like the evolution of video games. Like at the start when we started out with like Half-Life and like really early video games, and we just saw basically transformation, graphics improving, multiplayer online experiences improving, stuff like that. Even the computers. Yeah. We even still have our old computers from when we originally opened back in 2001 still back there, and just a trip through the times pretty much.
And yourself?
Yeah, so it's just like Kieran said, it's basically an evolution of the video games. It's great to see. Like you look at some of the older computers we have here and you look at the games on them, and then you look at the newer games that we have. The newer games have much better graphics. There's different types of gameplay, like the multiplayer is a lot better, more online-based games. And we also have an Xbox that we added in now, an Xbox 360. So we started with console gaming too.
When was that added in? I'll just pan there. And when was that added in? Actually, I'm curious.
I'd say about 2 years ago. Okay. We had to kind of go with the times because all these new generation people are into the consoles, so we had to go with that. We're not really PC gaming is kind of phasing out a little bit, and people are heading towards the consoles, so we had to change with the times.
And yourself, did you notice anything that was?
Well, yeah. Just like Kieran said, there's a lot of console gaming going on now. So in order for iPLAY to progress with how video games are moving, we'd have to get a console. And plus, there's also a lot of games that are added on to consoles, like the Xbox, that are not available for computers, such as Halo, which is a game that a lot of people like. So.
All right, yeah, fair enough. So, so have you noticed that, have you find people have come here more for console games in the last 5 years or so, or is that just,
We still have our core gamers who've been here since the start, and they come in all the time just to play on the computers. They're not the console type. They just stay with the original stuff. But we have like hockey tournaments coming here because we're in the Sensplex, so all these hockey kids that come in, they're like the younger kids are into Minecraft or Call of Duty, so they might go on the computers, but most of them are familiar with consoles, so they'll head on the console instead. So I find more of the sports kids are into the consoles more than the computer. Okay. I don't know what it is about it, but it's just the way it goes.
Well, maybe that's what they grew up with. Yeah. So do you find Did you notice that sort of change like in the last few years, or like was it a gradual change? Like that's what I would find was really interesting.
Yeah, I find it's a gradual change. Like consoles are starting to get really rapidly like more popular. So like back when we first opened, there's like the Xbox, like the first Xbox that came out maybe the year we opened or a few years after. So it wasn't really that good. Not many people were getting into it, so we still had the computer gaming. It was very popular. But now with like the Xbox 360 with HD graphics, and people like to play at home, they have Xbox Live where they can play with other friends and stuff like that. Just gotten more popular, so yeah, the computer's starting to phase out and consoles are coming in. It's been, I say like lately, it's really picked up, so.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah. So, are there any games that are super popular here that, if you could give me a list of like the top 5 or 10 maybe, or just, popular games in general here?
Like for everyone here or just for myself?
Well, let's just say, games that are super popular, say on the PC here, and then we can sort of see what games you really like. So for games on the PC, I'd say, what are the most popular ones here?
Most popular games, I'd probably say, would be we have a lot of good shooter games. Some of the best shooter game I probably ever played here would probably be Battlefield 1942. The graphics are not the best, but I just like the gameplay the most. and it's great because every computer at iPLAY has it, and we can all play together in a.
We're gonna probably do that later tonight because
Yeah.
it's a class. It's a classic.
Yeah.
And all the mods to it, we have a bunch of mods for it. It's just a great game because it can be modified so much in so many different ways. There's so many. It just makes it like a new experience every time you play a different mod.
Great.
I'd say in the past year, since Minecraft has gained popularity, it's probably our top game right now. We run our summer camps based around Minecraft because it's really popular with the kids coming up, and that's probably the most popular game right now at this point.
Yeah.
Call of Duty 4 is still up there. It's a classic game. It's one of the most popular Call of Duties. We still have COD 2, but it's more with a core group of gamers here from the start. They remember those days when it first came out.
Yeah, I remember.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
As Brennan said, yeah, Battlefield's very popular. What's another one?
Strategy.
Are there? Oh, sorry. I'll let you finish.
StarCraft, I didn't actually get into it, but there's a lot of games based off of that, such as Warcraft 3 is a very popular for the strategies, and the new Company of Heroes. I just got Company of Heroes 2. I haven't played it much, but so far it's pretty good. And yeah, we have a lot of other good ones like Rise of Nations, and there's a lot of good strategies. And the best part about strategies is that you really can't play it on a console. So it's kind of something special for the PC. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And what about like, this sort of dating myself, but like the original StarCraft or StarCraft 2, like when you opened, I guess StarCraft being out for a while, so maybe not StarCraft, but I'll let you explain that.
We actually do have some StarCraft on our computer still. I don't think we have the CD keys for them though, but we did have it back in the day, and I remember walking around seeing people play it as a kid.
Yeah.
Like Brandon said, we never really got into it, but it was a popular game.
Yeah.
And we had some university kids come in within the past year, they came in, held tournaments here for StarCraft 2. It was pretty awesome to see all everyone together in the game. It was good.
Yeah.
Did you play StarCraft 2 now that, you sort of had like the chance, or?
Not really still. There's just so many, I don't know, I'm too lazy to get into a new game.
Right.
I still like the classics, like Battlefield, Call of Duty, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Strategy games are really awesome too, I think.
Yeah. There's a lot of games that me and Kieran both missed out on. Like StarCraft, I think that we probably would have got more into it if we had played StarCraft 1. World of Warcraft was a very popular game with some of the regulars, but we never got into it because I guess it was just an older generation that really got into it. Yeah, there's a lot of games that we have, but we have actually never played because it wasn't really our generation. Like we're more the for me and Kieran, we probably like our shooters and our strategy games a lot more than our fantasy
Role-playing kind of
role-playing games.
Okay. What about, say, like, classics like Diablo 1 or 2, or like, was there like was number 3 popular here when it came out?
Diablo 2, yeah. I took the time to do that, and I found it was all right, but then again, it wasn't really my genre in terms of video games.
I don't think we maybe got Diablo 3 on one computer. It was never really a hit here because not many people did it. But I did play Diablo 2 myself. It was pretty good, but like nowadays it's kind of dated because if you look at the graphics today and the graphics back then, it's just such a contrast.
Yeah. And then a lot of people have sort of said it's like, World of Diablo instead of, there's a whole controversy about that, but that's not really what we're going to cover today. So what games that you personally liked, we covered that earlier, but didn't go into detail. What games do you personally like that you've played here? Because you must have played a lot of games, both of you, in like a decade or more. Yeah, so what are your favorite games on these systems, and maybe recommend them for people?
Definitely Battlefield 1942. I've played it over and over again. Mods throughout the years, it's always been there. It's a big multiplayer game. Like tonight we're going to get all the regulars together and play a big game of that. It's always good fun. Like all the helicopters, flying airplanes, tanks, it never gets old. It's always fresh and new with all the different maps. You can download so many different things like mods, new maps, stuff like that, guns. It's awesome.
How low? Just so that everyone knows, how old is that game? Because like it's amazing that people are still playing it since I think 10. Yeah, I think it was 10 years. I don't know.
Something like that. It's very old, but it was a good game for its time. It's just revolutionary for its time.
Yeah.
And like as I said, like the fact that people are still playing it, and like, you know, they could be playing Battlefield 3 or like Battlefield 4, but they choose to play like a game that's like 10, 15 years old. So
the thing I find with Battlefield 3 and 4, if you're a PC gamer, you need to get like really expensive computers to run it because the graphics are so advanced and stuff. I find Battlefield 3 was way too advanced for our kind of setup here because we have to buy these computers en masse, so it would be way too expensive to get a bunch for Battlefield 3. And because you have the accounts thing too, like the live accounts, it would take too much effort to get all those live accounts up.
Yeah.
It's. I think Battlefield 3 is more for the console gamers because you can just buy an Xbox for a couple $100 and play
You
it.
already have a TV anyway, so you just plug it right in.
That's true. Yeah, so that's definitely a change, you know, and since like the Super Nintendo 8 days or so, you know, you have to like, with a PC, you have to like, just the graphics card alone could be 600, 800, you know, so yeah, that's how consoles is sort of, I guess, sort of won out over PC, at least for like mainstream. So, yeah, so what games are you guys currently playing? Are you guys playing games other than, you know, more modern games at all, or are you sort of more interested in games that like 1942, or kind of curious about that?
I'm looking into a lot of the strategy games, like the Total War series. I started off playing a few of their games, but right now I'm getting into the newer ones, like their newest release, Samurai 2.
Okay.
That's actually a very well done game, and I really like that.
I think it's called Shogun too.
Oh.
Follow the Samurai. Whoops. Yeah, we followed all the Total War games.
Yeah.
They're just awesome. I love to play them. From Rome at the start.
Yeah.
We still have Rome on our computers.
That's still my favorite, yeah.
And then you got Rome 2 coming out soon. It's going to be like a complete circle. Like
Yeah.
back in the old days when we used to play Rome together with everyone else. Now you got the modern Rome 2. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Basically the strategy games, newer ones like Company Heroes 2 that just came out. We've got that on our computer at home. We have maybe on one here.
Yeah.
That's one of the more modern games that we play. I haven't actually tried it myself. He's bought it for his Steam account, so he's been playing it. I played Modern Warfare 2 a lot. One of the more modern games. Modern Warfare 3. Never really got into Black Ops because, I don't know, there's something about it I don't really like.
Yeah.
I like the Infinity Ward over Treyarch kind of thing.
Yeah.
Another modern game.
A lot of this Valve games, like the original Half-Life, I actually got myself to, you know, went out of my way to try to play it. And then, but the newer Half-Life 2 was pretty good, and the newer, even, there's Left 4 Dead 2 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that.
There's also Killing Floor. That's a fun game to play.
I've heard of it.
There's so much DLC coming out for it. They just keep expanding
Yeah.
different weapons, different maps, different zombies.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun to play.
Okay. So what do you recommend to gamers? You know, say if from your experiences, what do you think because I've actually heard that they're trying to make another gaming lounge, but I don't know how successful they are. I don't know where it's supposed to be, but I've just heard rumors. Like, if you have any advice for those guys that are trying to make one, what would you say to them?
I'd just say basically the variety of the games. That's what's got most of our customers here. And go with the times, like Minecraft's coming in. Get a good server for your people to play on. Multiplayer games, they should be ahead because you get groups coming in, birthday parties, focus on that kind of stuff. Like, there hasn't been many new like multiplayer like simple racing games for the kids that have come out. That's why we still go with like the old Midtown Madness from like the early 2000s. Kids still play it. It's still popular with parties, so find the games that are good for your kind of like we get mostly little kids in here. Go for your audience.
Yeah. All right. And yourself?
And like you really have to find some very good games that are specialized for the PC. Like all strategy games are usually built for the PC, which are good. But you also have to find like there's a lot of games like Medal of Honor. You can't get that on the Xbox. And those, even though the graphics aren't as good, it's still a great game and it's fun to play. Same thing with the original Battlefield. There's tons of other games. Minecraft, which is very big coming out now. Yeah, you should really focus on the games that appeal to PC gamers, and yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So I read recently, and you can sort of see that gaming sort of become a bit more, I like to imagine like back when I first started playing games, like in the Super Nintendo days, and like, with Doom, like people would have LAN parties and they would take their computer over. But it sort of seems like, gaming sort of history sort of repeating itself. People are becoming like a bit more insular, they'll stay at home and like, yeah, like a bit more isolated, and like it's unfortunate, but it was sort of like we now have the technology to have everyone like play in the same room, and like, but it seems like the social aspect's sort of like diminishing, even though there's more games and like more opportunity. Like at least in Ottawa, it's easier to get around than say if we all lived in like Toronto and had like Five Guys. So do you think people will it'll still be a social thing, or do you think like social thing like in terms of like actually meeting up with people, or do you think it'll sort of get more insular, sort of everyone's in their own like niche? Because like you have like an insider's look at seeing like how people have changed like in the last 10 years that not many people have had. So what do you think? I realize it's a long question.
I'm going to see like with Xbox One and PS4 coming out, that's going to be pretty big, so that's going to get more people on console, I find. And with all the communication technology like advancing and stuff, I find people are going to become more insular. And this is going to start to die, which is unfortunate. We've seen it die because of consoles, because of Xbox Live. People don't need to go see each other anymore. They can just sit at home, connect to each other through the internet, and just play.
And whether it's just like my personal experiences or not necessarily everyone's experiences, but I've sort of seen friends are sort of like that. They don't want to leave their house. They'd rather like play their Xbox 360 than to meet someone down at the bar. So I don't know if that's like the standard, but it's sort of like you start to wonder after a while like if people are just going to stay at home and do that. So any other additional thoughts about that, or?
Like right now, it's just like he said, all the kids are sitting at home on their consoles. They just plug in the headset, they put it on, and they can talk to their friends through there. But you're also missing a great social aspect that we have here at iPLAY. With all the computers being together, networked together, you can communicate directly with other players, and it's a much better experience, I find. Because video games are also meant to be social in a way. That's why they invented multiplayer and all the other things. 2 players, the same thing. Like you look at the earliest games, such as Mario. They made it 2-player because it's supposed to be a social game for people to play together. But the new console games are kind of getting rid of that, and that's why I personally like PC gaming better than a console.
Do you prefer PC gaming as well? I know that you've been around PC, but is that for the same reasons or maybe similar reasons? Or
I'm really into the strategy genre, so it's just awful. I'm sorry, on the console. Strategy games are not meant to be on the console because moving a thumbstick around is not... I don't know, there's something more personal about using a mouse. You can be more precise.
Right.
I find with shooter games on the console, I hate it personally because you can't be as precise. So they have to give you the the aim assist and stuff on the console, which just to help you because it's not even that accurate in like moving. Like you just have like I don't know, it's more personal to actually have a computer and have a mouse.
We were born with the keyboard and mouse anyways. Like we really didn't have a chance for console. Like I've seen some pretty good console players, but I mean, for me personally, I think the main reason why I'm playing on PC right now is because I've been born with PC. I'm just so used to it right now, it's second nature.
Only thing I think console has the edge over PC is sports games. I think sports games are designed for the console. Maybe even a few platformers. Platformers I think were born with the console.
We love Mario Brothers and stuff.
We have a few consoles at home, so we do play a few games, but we're more into like the sports games and the platformers. Maybe even like a few fantasy games like Zelda stuff. Because you can't get Zelda on the PC. It's built by Nintendo.
Unless Nintendo goes out of business or something, sort of like Sega, and they, start putting their games on like, PC and, everywhere. Make multi-platform mascots. Actually, while we're on that topic, what do you guys think of what Nintendo's doing right now? You know, sort of the how they are like sort of not liking people doing Let's Plays. I'm not sure if you heard of that, but they're kind of discouraging it. And like if people are doing Let's Plays of their stuff, like Mario Brothers 2, they'll try and get all the royalties from that. So what do you think of like Nintendo doing stuff like that? And they actually tried to stop Evo 2013 from streaming Smash Brothers Melee at all at the fighting tournament. So I'm not sure if you know of that, but you know, what do you guys think of Nintendo doing things like that?
I think it's pretty stupid. Like, you gotta let the gamers have some kind of freedom. It's the internet, for God's sake. Don't go after it. Nintendo's doing good enough. They got the Wii U coming up. They got a bunch of things. Their games are going to be around forever. Like, Mario's so popular, like, they could throw a crappy Mario game out there and it'll still sell. Like, don't go after the gamers. They're your customers, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy your games if you keep attacking them like this and going after them for royalties. Like, they're just doing reviews of your games. They're doing commentaries. They're playing your game. They're paying customer. Just let them do what they want.
They should be encouraging that, actually, I'd say, because it's just basically free advertising for their game. Like if like you look on E3 and other channels like that, if they give a review on Mario and it's good, that's just convincing gamers to buy their game. So I'd actually encourage that. I don't know why they're just...
Like, people who have heard about a game, like a new Mario game or something, and they want to find a little bit more about it, they'll go to the commentaries on YouTube and stuff to find a little more about it, see if they like it or not. And usually that's one of the convincing factors to actually buy a game. Some of it's like advertising and the hype of like, oh, it's Nintendo, or oh, it's Activision, they're making a new game.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the commentaries do a bit of convincing, so they do advertise for Nintendo or whatever the big gaming publishing companies are.
Yeah, and personally, I go to YouTube to see if there's like, you know, I do that for, you know, music and for video games. You know, games that if IGN doesn't have a lot of footage, then I can go to YouTube and, you know, see it there. So, okay. Do you guys have like any, you know, final comments you want to add about either iPLAY or video games in general, or, you know, just say hello to anyone out in Ottawa?
I don't know. Everyone we know basically and play with are here, so I don't have many shout-outs to do. All I like to say, it's been a pleasure being here with iPLAY for all these years, and I'm gonna be sad. It's kind of bittersweet to see it go, but that's the times. Everyone's shifting to consoles. It's what's gonna happen, unfortunately.
It's the same thing as he said, but you just don't know. Like times change. Might go from PC to console, and then maybe even back to PC, or maybe something will come in and completely take over console. We don't know. Like it's just the times are changing. I guess PC gaming is kind of dead right now.
Yeah, and arcades largely disappeared. At least in Ottawa, you know, there used to be an arcade down on Bank Street, and that unfortunately disappeared. But personally, I sort of got to live like the last bit of that, you know, arcade experience, because there used to be tons in Barrier Mall and, you know, around the city, Nintendo Top 10, those machines and Neo Geos. So I got to see a bit of it before it all went. So yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, well, guys, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to speak to me, and you know, I'm always here to listen to you guys or anyone else in Ottawa about video games or anything related to video games, so really appreciate it. So, well, this is Jim from Just Push Play. Keep on gaming, guys. It's Ottawa's video game web show. Take care.